Good evening from Gross Memorial Coliseum in Hayes. Brendan Dzwierzynski with you, trying to use my outdoor voice as much as I can. We've got some music playing here in Gross Memorial Coliseum. It was an unfortunate night for Washburn basketball. The ICHABODS suffer a men's and women's sweep of defeat, falling to the Fort Hays State Tigers in both ends of our doubleheader today. The Washburn women falling 70-45, the Washburn men falling 71-58. Let's start with the nightcap, our men's game from today. Washburn actually led going into the half. It was a 1-point lead, 35-34. Fort Hays State had a chance to take the lead going into the break. However, a missed dunk and then a missed stick back led to Washburn holding on to that 1-point advantage going into halftime. And Washburn had a very strong first half offensively. 52% from the floor, made 3 3-pointers, did take him 10 tries. Andrew Orr looked fantastic. Brady Christensen had an excellent start to the game as well, but the script completely flipped in the second half, specifically with a 20-0 run for Fort Hays State over Washburn, and I'd said it to Brett Ballard a few minutes ago when it felt like this on the broadcast too. Just an avalanche from Fort Hays State. They were relentless. Finally, a Sam Ungashik runner got Washburn on the board again, but upwards of 5 minutes without scoring, 20 straight points for the Tigers, and the turnovers, a massive issue in this game for the ICHABODS. Washburn turns the ball over 21 times in the contest. That's one of its highest totals of the entire season. And as Coach Ballard told me after the game, it's been a long time since Washburn has struggled turning the ball over quite to that degree. Those 21 turnovers, they led to 21 Fort Hays State points. You wipe those off the board, obviously it's a different kind of game in this one. Andrew Orr led the way for Washburn. He had 13.7 rebounds in the contest. Jack Batchelor was the other ICHABODS scorer in double figures. He had 11 points on 4 of 8 shooting, made 3 3-pointers in the game. Additionally, Brady Christensen, he had 9 points, 8 rebounds. Usually a lot of his production comes in second halves. Most of his scoring today, it came in the first half, 7 points before we got to the halftime break. Washburn as a team shot just about 45% from the floor, only 29% from three. And again, those 21 turnovers, while Hayes gave the ball away just 9 times in the game. Fort Hays State, by the way, they had 2 players get into 20-plus point territory. Caleb Hammocky had 22 points, and Elijah Nanabu went insane in the second half. He ends up with 20 points in the contest as well. As for the Washburn women, who now have lost 4 of their last 5 games, no shame in losing to a Fort Hays State team that is top 20 in the country, number 19 in the latest coaches poll, in fact, in the nation. But Fort Hays State holds Washburn to its lowest scoring total of the year at just 45 points and just nothing doing offensively all night long for Laura Westling's group. The ICHABODS shoot 17 of 51 from the floor, and in the second half in particular, 6 out of 25, 32%. 24%. Let me get that math right. So a really rough stretch down in the end of the game for Washburn. After looking fairly decent in the first half of this one, this game felt very reminiscent of that game against Missouri Southern 8 days ago when Washburn scored just the 1 point in the second quarter and what ended up being, at the time, the worst defeat of the season for this Washburn ICHABODS team. Leading the way for the ICHABODS, Aubrey Dewey. Very cool day for Aubrey. She had a bunch of folks, friends, family from her hometown of Plainville who were here in Hayes to watch the game, and she balled out 8 of 20 from the floor. Perfect day at the free throw line, a handful of rebounds, an assist, 3 steals. She ends up with 20 points. Dewey has now scored 20-plus points in 4 of her last 5 games. She has been excellent on the offensive end, was aggressive in this one. And again, competitive game going to the break. Washburn, after being down huge early in the game, even tied it at 28 all before going into halftime down 30-28. But unfortunately, it is Fort Hays State that pulls away in the second half. Aubrey was the only double-figure scorer for Washburn in this one. Another major story, though, foul trouble for Bari Widana. Bari was only able to play for 17 minutes, and then included the last 7 minutes of the game when things were all but decided at that point. She only scores 2 points, does have 7 rebounds, and Washburn really missed her effectiveness out there in this game today. Fort Hays State, they shot just under 40% for the contest overall. They ended up getting 3 players into double figures, led by a double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds from Katie Wagner, 13 points from Emma Ruddle, and another 12 from Olivia Hollenbeck in that one for the Fort Hays State women. So again, your final scores in women's play. Washburn loses 70-45. The Washburn women now on the season are 11-7 overall, 6-6 in the MIAA. Meanwhile, the Washburn men, they are now 8-4 in conference play, 12-6 overall on the season. They lose to Fort Hays State 71-55. 58. Our next broadcast of Washburn ICHABODS Athletics is coming up on Saturday from Kearney, Nebraska, from the Health and Sports Center. We will be there. Broadcast start time 1:45. Game 1 tip at 2. The men's game will follow right around 4 o'clock. And you can catch all that Washburn action on your home for ICHABODS Athletics, Country 1069 and mycountry1069.com and the Alpha Media Player. But until then, with the music still blaring behind me, I am Brendan Dzwierzynski saying so long from Gross Memorial Coliseum, and we will talk to you for more Ichabod basketball coming up on Saturday.